There's a blueprint for hitting $40,000 a month, and it was what we call a roadmap, taking you from beginner agent all the way to intermediate, doing 10 to 15,000, and then scaling up to doing $40,000 per month. In this video, I'm going to be breaking that down to a T exactly for you as an agent. My name's Trey. I'm the owner of Agent Lead Lab. The past 3.5 years, we've helped 550 agents issue pay $40,000 per month. And on this channel, we just try to talk about the methods, behaviors, strategies, and tactics of those agents and what they've done to be successful so you can go out and do the same thing. As always, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Let's hop right into the video. Oh, how do I get down here? Oh, my bad. Here we go. I thought I've never done this before, y'all. Cool. So I want to quickly go through this and why this is super important. So brief context, where did this come from? So I had a conversation with really honestly, my two first clients. If those of you who know who they are, you can go back and look. But essentially, we're having a conversation and we're talking about the way that I've structured my business to treat it almost like a life insurance agency, but also modeled after a lot of progressive behaviors and how agents, grow, right? And then I had a call with a client yesterday and I was like, hey man, like this is kind of like, if you're really trying to get your agents up and running, this is kind of like the blueprint. And it made me think like there's a roadmap to get to 40, 50K. Some people, create their own. Some people, do it a little bit differently. But the one that we've seen over time is kind of what I show you, right? So it's age leads first, right? Then it's fresh basic leads. And that's to get ball rolling and predictability. And then after that, it's going to be premium leads to buy time back. All right. So I'm going to talk about age leads first. Let me go ahead and make this big screen. Keep that, my bad. So age leads. Now, here's the thing. When you talk about why age leads are so important as an individual agent, it comes down to a few key components. So if you're new, right, in the space, you have to understand that, and I don't know if I'm looking here or here, so we'll see how it goes this time, y'all, because I was on my previous screen before. But if you're a new agent, one of the things that you need to understand is that you need to get reps. It's like training wheels, okay? You don't just hop on a bike and say, hey, I'm just going to start riding with no training wheels and ride off into the sunset with no issues. I'm not going to fall, anything. You're going to get on a bike with no training wheels and you're going to fall. And you're not really going to be able to get better because you're not going to get the adequate reps to start learning like balance, stability, understanding like how to pedal. Now, can you just hop on a bike and take off and fall on your face a few times and then figure it out? 1000%. And am I saying that that is not the way to do it? No, I'm just saying that there's a more sustainable, consistent way for majority of people to be able to hop on a bike with training wheels, get a little bit of, go through kind of some of the difficulties of riding a bike, but then eventually transition to where they're guided by somebody and then they take them off and then they take their hands off. That's kind of what age leads is. It's a cheap barrier to entry for you to get your teeth kicked in to learn skills. This new fascination of like, we're going to run age leads forever into the dirt and grow our business. I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with it, but it is very reverse of why it was created. Understand that these leads were given away to agents when they first came in because they want them to get reps. They were not meant for you to scale your business, which we'll go into next. So you have to understand that the first step in creating a roadmap is saying, let's buy some age leads, let's work these leads for a week to a month. Now, the standard that my friend and I have come up with, or, first client of I have come up with, and he really coined it was, let me get you to 10K off of age leads. And once you get to 10K in deposits, then we can start investing into fresh leads. And I think that's a beautiful blueprint because a lot of people, when they get in this industry, 10K is like that entrepreneur, business owner, I'm out here doing my own thing, like number. Like, hey, if I can do 10K, I feel like I'm the man. Perfect. We love that. So you start realizing that if that's the benchmark, then we need to set that benchmark for what you do off age. Now, when you get past age, we're going to roll into the next step. So I think this is super important because you have to understand that age leads is the first dynamic. And I'm not going to talk necessarily about like working them. I'm just going to talk about what the roadmap is. Now, the second dynamic is what we call fresh basic leads. Now, for me, I call these Facebook leads. These are going to be like the most generalized leads that you can get. They're going to be anywhere between like 14, 15, and about $30. for a lead. Okay, so it's not going to be, $50, $60. It's not going to be the greatest thing since price bet, but it's going to require you less reps to get the same 10K and 15K, etc. Making money, right? Let me go big screen here. So making money is really all about how do I say this? I heard this quote and I don't even want to mess it up, but I am going to mess it up. It's not about you making 5, 10, 15, 20, $30,000, $100,000, $1 million. It's who can make $1 million in the quickest amount of time is the person that ends up having theoretically the most money. Because if everybody says, well, I'm a millionaire, well, there's tons of millionaires who will be billionaires, but they'll make billions of dollars over a long period of time. When you say millionaire, you think a year. When you say billionaire, you think a year, right? And then they just consolidate how long it takes them to make that same amount of money, and then they can do it over and over and over and over and over again. As an agent, you want to be able to do that same thing. So when you go from age leads to what we call fresh basic, all you're doing is saying that it took me 30 days working all these leads in order for me to make $10,000. Now it's going to take me 14 days to make $10,000 with less leads. So how do you make more money? You just buy more leads and do the same thing in the second half of the month. So now you've made double the income with basically, a half of the work in terms of like having to work the leads, but you had to spend more. So your margins aren't as great, but that's what happens when you start making more money. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Like you're going to spend more and you're going to make more, but your margins might be less. But that's okay because I'd rather make $1 million and keep 300K than make, and say, oh, my margins aren't the greatest in the world, but then I make 50,000 and I keep like whatever it is, 10 or 50, whatever. You guys get the point. Like when you make more, you're going to have lower margins most of the time. Like they're not going to stay the same. That's just a part of scaling in any sort of way. But the cool thing is when you're doing this as an agent, you're making more with less work and your skills are getting better. That's why you want to start with the training wheels because once again, if you were to buy those fresh leads, could you still do that? It's like, yeah, but now you're spending a lot more money that you don't really need to spend because you don't have the skills. Like you're going into a BMX competition and you've never even taken the training wheels off, bro. Like you're not ready. And yeah, you could go out there and maybe like crush it if you have like a lot of balance and by God's grace and like there's a lot of things that can happen, but you want to make it as predictable as possible. This is still a business at the end of the day. So like that would be like me coming out the gate, spending as much as I'm spending on ads or trying to build the infrastructure that I have now. I couldn't do that from the beginning. I didn't have the bandwidth. I didn't have the team. I didn't understand the dynamics of business in the same way that I do now. It's not that I would never be prepared. It's that I had to go through the steps. And this is the progression. I think progression is important because people want to know where they're going. If they feel like they're working with a company and this is just, it just, I ain't lazy forever, or they're just in this is where they stop. If they don't have a goal for where they're going, it doesn't really matter. Like you're not, you can't scale. And then on top of that, there's really no like where without a vision, a man perishes, right? That's biblical. So like at the end of the day, you need to know where you're going, but also you need to understand that there's stepping stones to it. So people like you don't want to look at buying more leads and buying fresher leads as like this, oh, I need to get the exact same ROI. I'm just going to go back. Like that's the main reason why people never jump from age leads to fresh leads. It's not because the age leads, the fresh leads, they want them to be bad. It's because their perception of what scaling looks like is just off. They think that they're supposed to spend that little and make a crazy return. And they're like, well, I'll just stay here. And it's like, that's not how it's supposed to work. You're buying your time back. And then when you get better and you improve your skills, you continue to do that. So people stay stuck on this rat race. And that's why so many people churn out of the industry because there's no system, there's no progress for people, right? So this is the blueprint that will take you from where you're at, where you made your 10K. Now it's time to reinvest. I'm not going to talk about the different lead types because that's relative. I had a video yesterday explaining it more in depth about the mindset, and you can go watch that. But for this video, I'm gonna be breaking down the progression. Okay. So these fresh basic leads are just gonna be a step up from age. They're going to be fresh. You're still going to have to overcome objections. You're going to be leveraging the skill set that you got from the age leads, but for the fresher version of those leads, right? So let's move into the last piece, which is my favorite, which is going to be premium leads to buy your time back, right? So if we look in terms of like setting this up, okay, so this would be orange, right? This would be yellow being first, and then green would be last, right? And then this is really going to be for your agency owners or people that are now building, okay? And it's interesting because when I started, this was the progression that we went to. Like you bought some garbage leads first and you got good. Then you started buying some halfway decent leads. And then you went out and bought mailers. And they were like, cool, if you want to make 30, 40, 50K, you buy these leads. And if you want to be an agency owner, you have to buy these leads too. Because you have to, what they would tell us is you would dial from 7:30 to 12 and you book all of your appointments. And then from 12 for the rest of the day, you do recruiting calls and you talk to people. It's like that was the blueprint. This dialing all day and like building a team was like never a thing. It was work in the morning, book your appointments for the evening. We used to dial on Monday and Thursday. I have a whole video breaking this down in terms of like how you can now convert that to you being an individual agent who's doing things virtually. You can basically follow the same blueprint, but you can do it in a different way. So you now understand that these are the two ways in which you can grow, right? You can dial all day long and run age leads, or you can buy fresh leads and get your time back and get blocks of time, which are typically through the middle of the day. Because if you're doing booked appointments off premium leads, which a lot of times you are, then you call in the morning, book for the afternoon, evening, and dial, or you have preset dial days and book days, or you have an appointment setter who does it for you. But either way, you're leveraging your time. Like, and that's the purpose. You're not trying to say, like, even for me, I could keep my ad spend really, really low and get a real like a pretty decent ROI and be super excited to be like, yeah, I get 3, 4x, 5, 6, 8x ROAS, or I could get like 2.5, 3x ROAS, make more money, grow, and push the limits. It's like you just got to figure out where you're at, because when you scale, those numbers are going to go down. But when you do premium leads, you're buying your time back. So people are like, well, I don't want to jump into it. Let me go full screen, my bad. I don't want to jump into it because you know, I was making more when I was spending less. So like, why am I? And it's like, okay, you just are thinking about it wrong. You're buying your time back. Like, it's the same person that said, like, I'd rather mount my TV than pay somebody to mount it. It's like, okay, if you mount your TV, right, it may take you, no, not do mounting TV because that's not horribly long, but let's do something like you get a new piece of furniture, right? And you're like, whatever. Let's say it takes you 45 minutes to an hour to put the furniture together. And it's an hour and a half. Like when you're growing and you're building a business and like time is like money is very important. It's like, well, time is significantly more important than money. But nonetheless, you're like, well, I could sit here and build this for an hour. Or I can pay somebody $120. That's the same way you look at leads. It's like, well, I don't want to do that. I could just do it myself. It's like, well, I could say instead of buying these fresh leads for 1,000, I could buy these age leads for like 400. And it's like, yeah, bro, but it's $600. And I think I hate to say this, but I've even had this perception since the beginning. Like, money is money, man. At the end of the day, like, I don't want to. I said this yesterday, but with premium leads, this is how I've always looked at it. I wanted my time back. I got into this to make money and get my time back. I don't know why everybody else got into it. I did not get into this to dial for 12 hours. I don't care how much money I made. I don't want to do that. And I'm pretty sure the people that are making a lot of money, they didn't really want to do that either. Now, if you have to do it, I get it. But to do that over a long period of time when you have the skill set, it makes zero sense. Like when you dial for 12 hours straight, which I have had to do a few times, like when you dial that long, over months, or if definitely the first 30 days, you are going to develop a ton of skills. You're going to get objection, get your teeth kicked in, have bad days, good days, ride highs, lows. You should be ready to buy fresh leads, overcome objections, and be willing to do whatever it takes if you can get your time back. Like I was willing to spend more money to get my time back. I didn't care. I'm not worried about like, oh, I'm gonna save $100. It's like, bro, $100, $1,000. The way I look at it is like, if you know that you can close a deal and make $1,000, $2,000 in 30 minutes, why in the world would you be tripping on spending an extra $400 or $500 on some leads? That makes zero sense to me. I have these age leads. I made sales off them. I reinvest into the fresh leads. Yeah, they cost a little bit more. Now I get my time back. I make the same amount of money, if not more, in less time. Yeah, I'm spending an extra 1,000 or 1,500, but what the heck is 1,000 or 1,500 for my time? That's just the way that I look at it. I've never, when I was running leads, I never complained about the leads because I knew that as I bought better leads, I was just getting my time back. The time to get on the phone. I think people think that when you buy fresh leads, you're not buying more sales. That's not how it works. You're just buying the time that it takes to get in front of the people that will get you to sales, which is what you want. It's like you're just paying for better opportunities. And maybe I need to record a video on like what real opportunity, what paying for leads is. Maybe I should record that. What exactly is paying for leads? Because you need to know that in this progression, you went from I'm working age leads because I was broke and I didn't have any money, right? And I needed to learn my skills. Even if I did have money, I still need to learn my skills. The difference between somebody who has a lot of money and doesn't have money in this model is that they can afford to buy more age leads to learn quicker. That's it. But I still think even if you have the money, you don't go to fresh because it doesn't make sense to not learn the skills that are necessary and also to value your time. You need to dial for 12 hours straight to get your teeth kicked in. So when you dial for 4 hours or 6 hours or even 7 or 8 hours, which is a 4 hour difference, it's pretty drastic. You are not tripping. If you're dialing from 5, 6 hours, you're definitely not tripping. You're willing to spend more because you've done it. But if you just come in and run fresh, or if you only run age, you never understand what's on the other side. It's like somebody that's never flown for first class or never had Uber Black or never went to a really expensive restaurant, relatively speaking. Like you don't know because you haven't been exposed to it. And typically, when your mind gets exposed to something, it's very hard to revert back to its original way of thinking. That's why exposure equals expansion. So the identity of somebody who is going to consistently decide, I'm going to find a way to buy these leads and get my time back is the last step in the process because now you can do everything. If you're a solo agent, you don't even want to build, you're just buying your time back, which in my opinion, shouldn't that have been why you like, I get where we're hustling and I love grinding. I give a 415 every day. I get it in. I love the idea of like just working hard, but I also like know that there's a goal at hand. Like my goalposts and goals are a little bit different than this outline, but I still in my mind have like a progression that I'm going down. So it's like if you're an agent, you got in, you're really good now. You can get your time back. If you don't want to be an agency, fine, but you should at least be buying the leads to get. It just has never clicked for me. I just don't think I understand why people would do that. So maybe I'm just a little bit different, but I think that acknowledging this progress is really what makes a difference. And if you listen to the top people, they're like, I'm spending $1,500 to $2,000 a week. People are like, oh my goodness, that's so much money. And it's like, it's really not. Like, you're running a business, you're putting 8K in, you're pulling out like 50, 60, 70, 80K. Like, I don't understand where that would ever be weird. Like, if you went to any business owner in any other space and you're like, yeah, I spend 8K on marketing, they're like, okay. Like, they're literally gonna be like, okay. Oh, I spend $2,000 on marketing and making it. It's like, well, that sounds kind of sketchy. Sounds like you have a lot of work too. It's like, would you not rather just spend? So in my mind, we have to take it out of the context of being a life insurance agent and look at a business owner because being a life insurance agency owner is not being a business owner. There is a very, yes, you theoretically can call yourself that. You can big yourself up, make yourself feel like you're doing what you need to, but real business owners move differently. They don't question things that, you know, seem like, oh, okay, they're willing to invest. They buy systems, they learn things, they're not skeptical, they don't get on sales calls or not show up or tell people they need to think like you. They make decisions. Like a lot of people think like, oh, these people have a lot of money. They're like, dude, they make decisions quick. It's not hard. Like, it's like, okay, cool. Something I want to do, something I don't want to do. When they hop on calls, they're decisive. They pull their card out, they pay. There's no questions. They don't care about fees. It's like, cool, this is what we got to do. Right. And it's not this whole like, oh, I'm so like busy and I'm gonna just sit here and think about it. That's just weird to me. Like I've never really understood. Yeah, that's what this video was for. A quick breakdown to the way you guys have the roadmap, right? It's aged to basic fresh to then text verified or premium leads or whatever. And these leads, by the way, I'm sorry, they're gonna be like $35 plus, right? $30 to $35 plus is typically sometimes $40 plus. You can throw live transfers in there because that, annuities. These are going to be like your premium leads where you're buying your time back. Like your skill set has now caught up. You're ready to invest in better leads. Your margins may not be as great, which is fine because they're not great relative to your time, which time is inevitably more valuable than money. Makes total sense. So if you do want to do that, then you go on that progression, you get to the end, and then now you can start scaling and building a team. You can give that same blueprint to your agents, and then everybody feels like they're on this track and this path to get to where they're trying to go, right? And that is essentially like what needs to be focused on, because if those points are emphasized, then you feel confident knowing like this is the track that we're going to take people on. So as always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. You can go to leadlabcrm.com, check us out, check out all of our lead options if that's something you want to do. You can grab some leads, or you can go to agentleadlab.com and book a call. We'll be going through really whatever you need, but those calls really are going to be for our agency owners doing, $200,000 to $400,000 plus, trying to get to $1 million. It's funny, we're actually about to scale our next partner to $1 million. I cannot wait to get him on the pod. He's going to open an office. We're going to fly out there. It's going to be dope. Me and the team. So yeah, super cool. It's gonna be for people. It starts anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000 a month as a retainer plus ad spend, and then but you do have to go through a progress. So you will have to become a free partner first, which is essentially kind of what we do in order for there to be a relationship. So we have systems all the way through from top to bottom for individual agents, for agency owners. So at least you have a clear path of exactly where you're going. So appreciate you guys listening to me today, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.